Hey guys, here we are with part 2 of the hammer tutorial from our Aryan's SolidWorks Accelerator on school. Now, if you haven't done part 1, I'm going to need you to go check out this video over here, also linked in description. That'll take you or get you to where we are now with what you can see on screen. All right, so let's continue on. First off, just going to grab all of these features and put them in a folder. Just label that part 1, just so we can see where we started from and what we've added on to get to the final image that you can see on the screen. And let's continue through. All right, so let's go. I'll continue to do this the same way I did the first video. So I'm not going to read everything. I'm going to look at the main sketches and features and interpret that in my own way and try and follow it as closely as I can, but if I've got some tips or advanced tricks based on this, I'll let you know. So we're doing a sketch on the right plane here. And draw a center line. Now, before I draw a center line, I want to see why, because I know in the previous tutorial, he drew a center line and then drew a center point sketch, or a center point straight slot. We don't need to do that. We can just do our slot and we can see that little highlighted, those dotted lines there. That's showing you where, showing you that it's going to reference the origin, okay, but not add a relation to it. But we can go in and add the relation afterwards. So I can press escape here, hold control, click on the origin of that center point and make it horizontal and add a dimension here. Okay, so I don't need that extra step of adding that construction line. I'll continue to put in the dimensions and going to do an extruded cut. It's 1 millimeter. Now, flip that direction to make sure it's going down into the object. And that's done. Okay. Something about hiding some stuff. I'm just going to skip that. I'm just going down to the next. Okay. So we're going to do another sketch on the right plane. Normal 2. Now, normal 2 takes me to the wrong view that I want to see here. I want to be around 180 degrees. You can change your views by pressing your arrow keys. By default, it'll move 15 degrees with each turn, I believe. If you hold shift, though, it will go 90 degrees. So if I hold shift and press 2 arrow keys, that'll go 180 degrees around. There's a little trick. Here, we're drawing 2 circles, each with a 2 millimeter dimension. Now, when you're drawing a circle inside a shape that's already round, like this slot, if you hover over the edge of the slot, it's going to bring up the center point of the circle, and you can click and drop your circle onto that center point. I'm going to select both circles and make them equal because they're both 2 millimeters. And this is an extruded cut. We're going to extruded cut that's 10 millimeters. So press 10, flip my direction, and OK. We're doing another circle here, and we're doing, looks like we're adding like a kind of fixing on the top. Again, we're drawing on the right plane. Now, why we're drawing on the right plane is because it is touching this face here. Okay, so this face is the right plane. But like if we moved our hammer, we made a change later, and it was no longer on the right plane, then this cut might not work. So if we're referencing geometry, like we want it to start from this face, it's better to sketch on this face than it is to sketch on the plane. So for this next step, I'm going to hit sketch using that face and then follow the step. So here, put my circle, make that 5. Extrude down 1 millimeter. Now, if I want to extrude to that surface, which is 1 millimeter away, like this, I don't have to go 1 millimeter here. And if I do that and the depth of that cut changes later, then I'm going to either have a gap or an interference. Best thing to do here go up to surface and select that face, and then it's going to go up to that face wherever that face ends up being. Uncheck merge result and press OK. Always keep going through. So we're trying to make like a pin. Yeah. All right. Now here's another little trick I can show you. We don't have to, if we're using a sketch, or we want to create a sketch that's got the same dimensions as something already there, we don't have to sketch it again. We can either use the existing sketch or we can convert entities. There's no need for me to like do this step here. Click on one of the circles, assign a diameter. Don't need to do that. I could actually just click this sketch here, click extrude. Again, I could go up to surface. So I could say that surface, which is down there, which is 10 millimeters away. Now, the only difference here, I don't want to do two circles, just one. So I can go selected contours, clear selections, and just select the one on the right. It's just going to do that side. Now, it doesn't say whether or not this one is wanting to merge. He's got merge selected here in the image, so I'm going to merge it. But when I do, because I haven't isolated, I'm just going to, in the feature scope, if I just move my head, you can see it actually, it's over on the right. I'm going to select, uncheck auto select, and then select this body to merge to. So it's going to merge to this one. Okay. So now if we do like a section view that's going through that, you can see the result we've got there. This is all one solid body. Okay, going through these two parts. All right, so let's keep going. For another circle, and what's this one? An extruded cut. So there's an error there with the dimension, I believe. It looks like a cut of 0.5 of a millimeter. And then we're going to add some chamfers. Okay, so how big's the circle? 3. So we're going to go sketch on this face. There was the gesture. If you missed that, right click, drag to my circle. Find the center point. Do an extruded cut, 0.5 of a millimeter. And now I'm going to isolate that body and do some chamfers. These are 0.25 mil chamfers on one face and one edge. Select the face and the edge, select chamfer. Put in the dimension. There we go. And now use move copy body feature. Beautiful. I love this tool. So we're going to make a duplicate of this to line it up with this hole here. Now, this tool here, I'll show you how to do it. So insert, features, move copy. We select the body, we select translate, rotate, we select copy, we put in the dimension, in this case, -6. Oh, sorry, the tool has changed, so you can only put in positive values. I put in 6, but I hit this little button and it's going to flip the dimension. Okay, so that is how he's done it in the tutorial. That works perfectly fine. Trouble is, if I was ever to change this cut and make this from 6 to 10, you can see those holes and those parts no longer line up. So how to fix that? Instead of doing move copy body, let's try doing it with a sketch-driven pattern feature. We'll see if this works. I'm not 100% sure if it will. Sketches, bodies, pin, selected point, this one. My sketch doesn't have a point in it, but if I put a point in it, then it might work. Let me try. I'm going to edit this sketch, put a specific point on the center point. So I'm using the point tool. On the center point of the left circle, I'm dropping a point, pressing OK. And now I'm going to try sketch driven pattern. It's using sketch 9, centroid reference point, body, this one. There you go. So what it's doing is referencing the body that you've selected, finding the central axis of that body, lining that up with the point that we've put in this sketch. Press OK. All right. And the beauty of this, if I change this dimension, the pin moves with it. Okay. Beautiful. Let's continue. Another chamfer on this edge here. 2 5. Okay, new sketch. So doing another sketch on the right plane. Draw a 2D sketch on the right plane. And then go to feature tree front plane. I'm a bit confused. So let's maybe just sketch on the front plane, I think. Yep, that view looks better. Okay. Now he's done two construction lines there. Now remember, my radiuses are a little bit bigger. That's why my distance looks smaller between these two edges. Okay, this is a valid place where you put a construction line, although you could just select midpoint from this one. So maybe we'll just do that. So we're going to draw a circle here, 17, and then to find where to position it, we're going to use the origin, which is in the middle, and we're going to select this line and go midpoint and hold Control and select vertical. Now that 17-hole circle is in the right position. Now this one is a trickier tool here. So we're going to do a boss extrude. We're going to change the from position to offset. We're going to offset at 50. And then direction 1, we're going to go up to body. Just to flip the direction. And then select the body here. Now I'm getting some prop errors at the moment. Let's try and work out why. I think it'll be because of the shape. Let's go normal 2. Let's go to the front plane. Doesn't want to do it. Okay. All right, let's troubleshoot. So instead of going up to body, let's just go blind and see what happens. Let's try up to next. Oh, there's no next. Let's go up to surface. Okay, that option works, but you see there'd be a gap here and here. So I'm not going to use that tool. If I go up to body and I flip the arrow, there we go. So there was a problem maybe with my selection of the arrows there. So that's fine. We're going to merge that, so that's okay. And we continue. So we're going to do an offset sketch. Excuse me. Offset sketch 5 millimeters. And do another extruded boss. We're going to offset this 5 and select the direction as 20. and we're going to give a draft angle out of 3 degrees. Okay. So we're offsetting backwards and then drafting out. Draft out 3 degrees. We're going to merge result. Now, this is it's good to show you how the offset tool works, but as far as design goes, unless there's a reason for it coming up, if I wanted to change the back position of this extrude here, the best way to do it is actually just make this 45 instead of 50. And then have this going from the sketch plane rather than offsetting backwards. That's all right though, let's keep going. Another chamfer tool, this time chamfer 5 millimeters, but at 30 degrees. And our shape looks okay. If you didn't know, if you have an issue with your chamfer, you can press flip direction and that will change which angle, which direction that chamfer is going. That looks good. We want to do some fillets, 1.5 mil. So we're going to select that, fillet, 1.5. Very nice. Repeat the fillet on the front with 1 millimeter. Cool. Exit, isolate. Make sure you save. All right, then back on the top plane, new sketch. We're going to right click on sketch 1. Now, sketch 1 is back in part 1. And I can find it here. And we're going to right click and go, it says convert. Sorry. I'll unhide the sketch. We don't have to unhide the sketch. You just click on the sketch. You can go convert, and it's going to copy it for you. And then in the highlight, in the viewport, select the highlighted line of sketch 1. So that's this one on the outside. Is that the only one we want to convert? Okay, that's fine. I'll just delete everything else. I've just got that line. And we're going to draw another line to make this shape. Come out, and up. And we're going to add some dimensions. Cool. We've done this last time, so I'm using the Smart Dimension tool. Going to add my angles first. Add my lengths afterwards. It's 4. Quite good. Click on the longest line. Make it construction geometry. Okay. And then we'll go and draw a spline between these 2 points. So the spline tool is up here. Spline, this point, this point. Press escape. Now it looks like a straight line, but if we click on it, we can see these arrows, connection points. They'll enable us to reshape that spline. So yeah, as he says here, click on the spline, drag both handles one by one to activate them. All right, so we're going to make this shape that we can see here. So I'm going to drag this one up, drag this one down, and we're going to add angles between those lines. Now, this is a bit tricky. So hold Control key, select the left handle, corresponding sketch entity, and put an angle in. All right, so let's see if I can do this. Hold Control. No. There we go. So click on that dot. We'll just try and repeat that. To be honest, I've very rarely used this tool, dimensioning with these control points. So it is great to learn something like that. Even an expert, certified expert, can learn something new from a beginner's tutorial. It's legitimate too. Okay, got those dimensions in. Very good. Here's another little trick. You can actually control how much that curve goes. So you see how I drag it here? If you want to fully define that, put a dimension on the arrow. And there you go. Now that is properly fully defined. Same at this end. Okay? That gives you even more control. He said it. Beautiful. Yeah, there's actually here in the tutorial. So we want to now click on those lines and add in these other dimensions. So 180 and 115. Now we've got the exact shape that we want. And looks like we'll do another spline on the bottom. Okay. So another spline here. We're going to follow the same rules. So the left spline handle, we're going to make it collinear. So this one here and this line, make it collinear, straight. And then it's kind of like tangent as well. I think tangent might give you a similar result. And the one on the right, we'll add dimensions. Actually, we're gonna bend that up. Is that right? Yep. Bend that up. So that's going to have a dimension of 36. And then a length of 90 and 170. Excellent. That's looking awesome. It's looking really good. Okay, I really like that use of the splines on that in this example. Really neat. Okay, so extrude mid-plane, 30 millimeters. We are going to unmerge. And we're going to add some fillets. So we're going to go 10 millimeter fillets on these three edges. Nice. Now, you can see it's a bit funny here, right? That edge and this fillet edge, like as a designer, maybe that would share the same thickness around the two edges, but we're not going to judge too harsh on this beginner's tutorial. Draw a sketch on the top plane. Go to sketch 1, back here. I don't think I need that sketch 1 at all. We just want to draw these lines. So the line is joining this point. So we're just going to follow the shape as I've done last time. It's kind of random. We want to avoid adding any relations as we're doing this shape because any relations we need, we'll add them later. And coincident to the end point of the arc, which I guess it's there, and then go through and add these dimensions. As Aryan says, assign the angular dimensions first, linear dimensions afterwards. It's a smart move. 120. And 40. 35. And that. 12. 6. Okay, it's still not fully defined. Vertical center line starting from the red point to the edge to get a dimension. Okay. Make it for construction. Put a dimension in. 10.5 in the image, so I'll use that. It says 10 in the text. Maybe we'll put 10 in. Okay, now it's fully defined, looking good. We're going to split, use the split tool. Insert mold, split. Okay, what we're doing here is we're separating it in half. Now I use split all the time. That's why it's on my command manager up here. If it's not there, you go insert, features, split. Now the body we want to split is this one. Press cut bodies. Select the two bodies. Make sure consume cut bodies is unchecked. Press OK. It's just going to split that in half using the sketch that we had. So now I can see I've got one body and a second body. Okay. This phase of the tutorial is definitely a bit harder than part one, which is good. We're going to go and put some chamfers in. So right click on the lower part and select isolate. I think that's this one. And then we're going to do some chamfers. So I want to do some chamfers on these edges. Make sure we need 30 degrees, flip. Okay, it doesn't want to do it that way. Let's try this way. Flip. 4. Okay, so different numbers. Let's try 4. Flip. No, it doesn't want to work. All right, bit of troubleshooting here. Let's select all the edges. Just cancel that, right click and go select tangency. Flip direction. Okay, that doesn't work. Here's my next troubleshooting tip. Reduce the size of your chamfer until you get something that you can see. If you're still getting nothing, then there's a bigger problem. Now, maybe I need to do one more edge here. I need to make sure that my edges are all pointing the same direction. I really think this split here, see how it's a sharp edge? That's really impacting our ability to do this chamfer. So I'm going to go back a step. I'm going to edit this sketch. And because it's like we're splitting right on that point, it's just kind of awkward. I'm just going to move this point here, see if that makes a difference. Now, that point there is the top edge. Let's check now, see if we get the same result. 1. Okay, still doesn't want to do it. Could not build a chamfer due to geometry conditions. Yeah, it's quite a hard edge. So is anything we've missed in the tutorial? You always want to just go back a few steps and see if there's anything you missed that might be leading to some problems that you're having. So that looks like I've just moved that point, but that hasn't made any difference. So I'm actually going to undo that. Yeah. Chamfer. Chamfer comes all the way around. See, in his model, it looks like a really nice fillet that comes all the way around, like it's a nice smooth edge. And if that was the case, like there's no fillet done between this split here and the chamfer. But if that had a nice fillet on it, this split probably going to work. So why don't we just put fillet on that edge? Just 6. And now I'm going to select 1 mil chamfer. And now it works. And now I can go up to 4. And that works. So it's really to do with that face and how that geometry works. Now, if I exit isolate and we have a look, you can see there's a little bit of a weird gap there, but for this tutorial, let's not worry about it. Let's keep going. Continue with these fillets. So, going to put them on 1, 2, 3. That plus the chamfers. Okay. Repeat fillet on the outside. This is a 3 millimeter fillet. Just reduce that. And then repeat. And this one is a 1 millimeter fillet. Filleting is addictive. When you're starting out, you can put fillets everywhere so easily. It's fantastic. As you become an experienced designer and user, you realize that fillets are really like unless they're for major parts of geometry, fillets are really the very end detail that goes on your files, on your parts, as you're removing sharp edges before something is being made in injection molding or anodized, or made from aluminium. Maybe it's machined. You're just taking some sharp edges off. All right, let's continue. Exit isolate, show all bodies. And now we're going to isolate the upper part of the handle. So that's this outer part here. So we'll just focus on this one now. Starting some extra large fillets on the rear. Select those edges. 15 millimeter. Chamfer 5 by 30. Now, depending on your direction, you're going to get quite different results. So make sure you get the right direction on that one. And repeat the chamfer at the other end. Different dimension. So it's fine to have 2 separate chamfers. And then another little chamfer on this edge. So chamfers and fillets are great ways to remove material quickly without fuss. Can't be sure which way it's going, so we'll use that. And then some fillets, more fillets. So I'm going to go 1 millimeter. One. And then some fillets on the underside. I'm using 5 millimeter. So you can either click the fillet tool first or click the edges first, then click the fillet tool, then put in your dimension. That works. Just going to save. Another couple of fillets. That one didn't do all the way around, so just make sure that we're getting those edges as well. Okay. All right, exit isolate, show all bodies. Okay, now just see how we've done. We look at a section view through this thing. We can see how we've done this split between these two bodies here. So we did a split with a straight line, and then we've gone through and done fillets on both sides separately. So multiple fillets. What you could do, if you have your design intent, is put your fillet in the sketch. So these fillets here, which are all 5 millimeters, I can edit this sketch. I can change, grab all of those, put a fillet in, exit. And when it does the split, it's going to split it with those fillets already there. So I can actually skip those. Okay, I've got essentially the same result. I have to clean up this fillet here, but that's no problem. Just clean up that one. There we go. Yeah. So there's all these little ways that you can reduce your clicks, your effort, get the same result. Okay, so draw a 2D sketch on the blue face of the lower part of the handle. I believe we're looking at this section here. So it's flat, right? So any flat face we can draw a sketch on. So flat face, offset 7.5, inside. And then we're drawing a line somewhere in the middle. Really say where, just anywhere. And then power trim. So power trim, T-tool for me, power trim's the top one. I'm just going to trim away all this stuff up here. Get all those lines, add some dimensions from here. Okay, looking good. Extruded cut, 2 millimeters. Okay. 2 down. Now he's highlighted here, select contour. I didn't need to do that because I only had one open contour in my sketch. Okay, everything else I deleted or removed. Now some fillets. You had a draft, so I didn't see that. So add draft, 45 degrees. Yeah. Okay, that makes it a bit more of like an angled cut on the inside. Okay, so now we're going to do a couple of small fillets on this edge, this edge. My shape looks a little bit different. It's hard to explain why, unless my cut was a bit deeper than his. Maybe it was. Let's reduce it. Looks better. $1.5 maybe. Yeah, it's pretty close. Peak fillet, 5 millimeter. Okay, I think we're leaving that part. I would like to add more detail to it and just clean it up a little bit. The way I'd clean this up, a couple more fillets on the bottom and those side edges. So that face, that face there. Okay, now at least it's kind of smooth all the way around. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're going to select the face. Where are we sketching? Let's draw it here. Let's offset this 3 millimeters. Drag the ends and then give them some dimensions. He's got a fillet around that edge already. I don't have that fillet. We'll come back and work out where that's from. 3.5. Okay, I'm just going to accept this sketch. Okay, so you can see the fillet that's around this edge here. It's around this edge here. Sorry. Yeah, I don't have that. So let's just scroll back. See where we missed it. It was on the other part. The first part, this one. Yeah, maybe when I redid the split, my whatever fillet I had here, yeah, hasn't continued around. So I'll just have to edit that. Just make sure I'm getting that all the way around. I think that should be better now. And I also didn't do both edges. You see how I've got the chamfered edge? I think it's kind of skipped over. It's not super, like it's missed in the image, I believe. Yeah. That fillet there, it's on the outside edge. So we're just going to add that in. No biggie. Just roll above that. Put a 1 millimeter fillet here. Oh, it's too big. 0.5, 0.3. We go all the way around 0.5. Okay, there we go. All right, we're nearing the end. I'm getting there. Now, back to this offset sketch. Yeah. So we don't need to delete the sketch. We can just redimension it from this line and then put our dimensions in. You can see his fillet doesn't even go around that sharp edge at the bottom. Again, it's fine. It's slight differences here, but that's okay. 3.5, okay. And then, okay, so this one's just drawing a shape. So let's draw the rest of that shape. So about that. Gesture. Angle, angle, angle. And smart dimension, 70. 74. 12.5. 10.5. Okay. And do an extruded cut with the draft angle of 50. Okay. So 1.5 down, drafting 50. Okay, and it gives you that kind of chamfered look. And then some fillets. I'm going to do all 4 fillets at 1 millimeter. And you're going to mirror that. I'm mirroring both. Okay. So before we do that, let's just put another fillet on these. There, that's nice. Okay. So let's work out what we want to mirror. That fillet, that one, cut. To that, and that cut. And then we go and we find a plane, which is top plane. And we go mirror. Okay. Beautiful. Nice when it works. Exit. All right, save. This now offset. What are you doing here? Going to split those parts. Splitting it into 3. Okay. So I'm going to offset by 0.5. All right. Now we're going to get into an issue here because we're starting to get really close to that fillet on the outside edge. So distance between that and that is only 0.25. So I'm not going to offset in this example. I'm going to convert. I'm going to use that edge there, convert, and use this edge here, convert. Because I've diverged slightly from some of the dimensions, it means that I can't follow the tutorial perfectly, but the theory here still works. We're basically splitting these bodies from the main body. So we'll have now 3 bodies from that one that we had originally. And that would be to do with like molding, or in this case, we can change some of the colors. We can put some fillets on them. So yeah, we want to, can't really see what he's filleting the holes. Okay, we can do that. So we're going to just isolate this body. This is a 0.5 mil fillet on both of those. All right, that part sticks out a bit now. Like, I don't love that, but he's got to finally put a fillet on that one. We already did that. And some more fillets. Fillet on that one. Okay. Apply appearances and activate real view. Okay, well, you can do that. So yeah, he doesn't do that in the tutorial. Design credit goes to Whistle. Whistle Design, Australian made. Nice. 2014. Very good, Ian. Great pickup. Whistle is based in my hometown. Fancy that. I used to live right around here. Oh, I can't see it because of my head. Hold on. That's where Whistle is. And I used to live just over here. Cool. I live a bit higher now, but fancy that. So, yeah, great work. So the tutorial, yeah, 50 minutes for part 2. Pretty good. Thank you for following along if you did. I'm not going to do the real view appearances. That could be a separate tutorial. But as far as following along from this beginner tutorial that Aryan's done, I think probably 10 years ago, excellent for beginners. The only things that I'd really change, probably some of the points that I brought up with splitting with the fillets or inside the sketch. Some use of construction lines unnecessary. you can actually use existing geometry or the origin to use as reference points. And there were a lot of fillets used. So, we got up to like fillet number 35. There's a lot of filleting here to create some geometry. Like these really big fillets, I've got no problem with that sort of use at all. It's all the smaller fillets, okay, where you try and consolidate those and have those, like maybe a more consistent fillet size across all of those details. And that would work really well. So, yeah, thanks again, SolidWorks Accelerator. Thanks to Aryan for putting this up. And I hope this helps everybody out in the channel that's having problems with the tutorial. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below. Thanks very much. See you in the next one.